AEW's Full Gears this Saturday. Just one little thing before we start. I actually thought it was going to be on this Sunday, but it's actually going to be this Saturday, which means technically it'll be going head-to-head during one of those hours. It'll be going head-to-head with WoW Women of Wrestling, and it will be going head-to-head with Impact's Turning Point, which is on the same night. And it'll be on Fight TV. Well, this will be on Bleacher BR Live, Bleacher Report Live, Fight for international viewers on pay-per-view providers. I think ITV box office in the UK. I'm not 100% sure, but check where you are in the world. It could be one of those things. First up, let's go over the pre-show match, or I guess the buy-in match, as we're calling them now. We're calling them buy-ins. As B. Priestley faces Britt Baker in what will be a war for sure. They've faced each other over the past few weeks. They have kind of been just going at it over the past few months, really. Whether it was a tag team, whether it was costing Britt Baker a shot in the Battle Royal, whether it may be anything. And honestly, this could be the match of the night, honestly, if it was done correctly. But it's a stacked card, so I don't know for sure. I will pick B. Priestley for what many people would consider a major upset. I would call it a minor upset personally, but I'm going to pick B to pick up the win there. And let's go actually an actual card here. First off, Joey Janela versus the chairman of AEW, Shawn Spears, with the legendary Horseman himself, Tully Blanchard, in his corner. This has kind of been going on AEW Dark, which I haven't watched. I'm not up to date, actually, but, from what we did see on Dynamite last night, Shawn Spears tried to take the man's tongue. Try to pull the tongue out of the mouth. I just want you to do that right now. Try to grab your tongue. Now, if you grabbed it, try to pull it out of your mouth. It's an image that is scary, an image that is kind of diabolical, kind of despicable, and just overall makes you mentally unstable. But this is the kind of links they've had to go to, and honestly, I'm surprised it wasn't worse. Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't much worse, quite frankly. But this will be a heck of a match for sure. I'm going to pick Spears just because I see Tully interfering, and plus Tully's at ringside. You have that experience of a man who has been in this business several years, who is a second-generation wrestler, and his daughter is a third-generation wrestler, still giving that guidance to her every once in a while. I'm going to pick Spears in this one. Next up, the AEW World Tag Team Championships will be decided in the first ever historic title defense of these titles, as SoCal Uncensored, Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky defended against the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix again, and against Private Party, who won a match against the Dark Order last night in some kind of bronze medal deal, to where it's a triple threat now for the title. This originally was going to be just the Lucha Brothers and SCU just for the the rematch for the titles, because of course SCU won the tournament, won the championships against Lucha Brothers in the final. It was originally going to be awarded by the legendary Rock and Roll Express, but Santana and Ortiz attacked them before that was going to happen, which is unfortunate, but you got to get them over somehow, I guess. So why not destroy one of the most beloved teams over the past several decades? It makes sense to me. I may not like it personally, but it still works, like it or not. But back to this match, though. Originally, the tournament had Daniels and Kazarian, the former bad influence in a way, in this team, but they got injured again by Santana and Ortiz. So Scorpio Sky stepped in at the last minute, had an incredible showing in that match, and has been honestly the star of this team. Kazarian is always great, but Scorpio Sky has really impressed me in a way that he hasn't since him being on, I believe it was NWA Hollywood. That's a long time ago. But this cat can just go. He can really go when he really needs to, and it's very impressive even to this day. But at the end of the day, unless they do something with the Lucha Brothers, it only makes sense for the first ever champions to have their first ever successful title defense, and that's what's going to happen here. SCU is going to retain. Next up, for the first, and speaking of first ever, is the first ever defense of the women's world title, as Riho faces Emi Sakura. A great match, a teacher versus student match in a way. Sakura was Riho's mentor for several years, and I believe, they've said it enough times, but Riho started at the age of 9. And just do the math at that point, she's probably, a 15-year veteran at the least? 15 years at the least, it has to be. Maybe even a 20-year veteran at this point, who knows? It's very possible. But, and plus, especially people in Japan start really, really young. Like I said, Riho started at the age of 9. Just do the math on that, and she's probably a 10, 15-year veteran at the least, like I said before. But Sakura has that much more experience than her, if not maybe a little more than that. And of course, Sakura is a legend in her own right. But like I said, with the last match, you have the first ever champion. It only makes sense to have the first ever title defense on pay-per-view. She's defended the title in the past and on Dynamites in the past. But as far as a pay-per-view, this is the first showing of the world title on pay-per-view. So it only makes sense she defends it there. Unless you're going to do something with Sakura. You can do a lot with Sakura for sure. But I just don't know if they're going to pull that trigger yet. And finally, yet another change to a match, as Chris Jericho defends against Cody for the AEW World Championship. We fucking saw Virgil last night, so that says a lot right there. But that's not the real problem here. The problem here is if Cody loses, he has vowed he will never challenge for the AEW World Championship ever again. And, this has been something in the past. People like he said in his promo with Bill Watts, people like Bill Watts, his father Dusty Rhodes. People that have been in power, but have also challenged for the world title, whether it's the NWA world title, WCW world title, the world class world title, fucking Mid-South world title, doesn't matter. This has been a problem, and I wouldn't call it a problem per se, but it is a interesting conflict of interest for a man that, in Cody's case, is an executive vice president of the company. And it's I could see why people say what they say, but at the end of the day, this is wrestling. He's not going to sit there and be a fucking booker like Dusty was. He's still got a lot of good years left. And even Dusty, when he was booking, had a lot of good years left as well. That was in the prime of his career, quite frankly. If not, it was going to be in his prime eventually. And again, 60-minute time limit with the 3 judges at ringside. We don't know who they are. Don't care at this point unless it's somebody of noble impact or a legend. It's irrelevant. But like I said before, if this goes the distance, Jericho probably retains. But you've backed yourself into a corner where Cody has to win the title. So if it doesn't go the distance, I could see Cody winning the title. But again, if it goes Broadway, if it goes the full hour, Jericho will retain, and Cody will just be in a state of limbo. And with that being said, Full Gear is this Saturday. We'll probably have another buy-in match or two, or maybe one of these will become a buy-in match. Who knows? But all I do know right now is the AEW cards have been a great card. It's a great way to end the year for AEW. Pay-per-view wise, and we'll just see what happens. It's going to be a great night of wrestling, a great weekend of wrestling like always, and we'll just see what happens.